So I'm splitting the documents. I don't know if you were following along how I got to this point.
No, I actually thought you were doing setup, but I realized maybe it had went a little long, so I figured I'd ask.
Yeah, thank you. Because I didn't know you weren't hearing me.
Yeah, so that's the only reason I chimed in. You know, I didn't want to jump.
Thank you. Yeah. All right, so let me finish. I'm almost done splitting this one here. So when you're splitting and you've had the document signed, the very last page is going to be a certificate. It could be 2 pages, depending on how many people signed. You don't need to split that as part of your packet. So you're going to leave that particular one off. So like here, it's telling me my packet ends at 34 pages, but I'm going to end at 33. So I cut that packet off. All right, so then this is our condo. See if I can find this one here. There it is. And this is 31 to 33. All right, so once you've gotten all of them numbered and selected the auto name that popped up, then you just hit the split button. All right, once it comes back here, your document has been split. You go to the bar on the left-hand side, listing residential checklist. Here are all the individual documents that I just split out of that packet. So the only other documents that I'm needing to upload at this time for my new listing is the tax report that you pull from Realist and the MLS. And I need to complete a seller net sheet, and that you use the title capture app, which the information should be on that welcome email to add that to your phone. So once I've done that, I add those in. I'm not having a lead. So once I submit this, I'll note that I want an exemption in order to submit and turn everything in so that we know you have a listing that needs to go in the MLS. And to review your documents is to go to the red action button, hit the drop down. It's going to say submit for review, and I'm going to have 11 documents that I'm submitting. Once I hit this button, it's going to ask me, am I sure? Am I ready to turn them in? I confirm, and it's going to say pending approval. Once Lucy reviews them, it will change from pending approval to either approved or rejected. If it's rejected, on the comments on the right-hand side, if you click and drop down, there'll be a note there from Lucy telling you what is wrong and what needs to be fixed. Make sure you go ahead and fix those right away so that you're not at the very end of the transaction when it's time to get paid, trying to go back and fix a lot of different documents. All right, so that's the first step with your listing. Then as you're receiving offers, you're going to put them in your, I like to put them in unsorted. If you're getting a lot of offers, you can house them in the offer simply by providing, hello?
How you doing? Hey, so I missed a little portion, and I'm not familiar with Brokermint at all.
Okay. All right.
And I didn't quite see how you opened the form initially.
Okay. All right. I'm going to be adding another checklist here in just 1 second, and that'll show you exactly how to do that.
Oh, okay. All
right.
I'm just following.
Yep, because I'm getting ready to add that next checklist. All right. Okay. So anything that you upload in the unsorted is primarily because you're going to be doing some additional work on it, or you're going to split it. So if you receive offers, you can actually put them in here. You can rename them simply by clicking on the name here, hit the edit and hit rename. So if you receive 3 offers, you could rename them to identify them and then either counter or accept it. All right, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to add a checklist. So on the black bar on the left-hand side is where you're going to get your checklist in order to do additional paperwork. All right, so on a listing, let's say you need to do a listing change. You haven't gotten any offers and now you're going to reduce the price. So here's a listing change form. I go over to the right where it says use forms and on this particular one and click that button. This one, it's not attached. So we're going to have to attach the form. So you're going to select your first form, Keller Williams Realty, Rain, search, listing change. There's my listing change form. Click the red box there and select. It's added the form. Then you hit next.
Before you get out there, my left black box does not look like mine's. Just Trey Brown and Keller Williams onboarding.
Okay, so we'll have to turn yours on and then you'll see the same thing.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So you remove anybody I don't have 2 sellers. I just have 1. So I'm removing them. Listing broker does not need to sign a listing change form. Your signing order, drag them in the order you want and hit next. Then you're going to complete all the fields that pertain to this particular change. It has the 2 signatures. That's the seller. That's the listing agent. You're going to hit drop down, send for e-signature and send. I'm going to save and close. All right, I'm going to go back to the very beginning. When you first log in, you'll end up here. All right, so once I change your file over and you log in, you'll end up here and there'll be a button down here to create your first transaction. It'll be down towards the bottom. After you've created your first one, then you'll go to transactions and hit create. You'll select what type of transaction it is, and then you'll start filling out all the appropriate information that you know. All right, and you'll go through the different tabs. Creating the transaction, it's easier to do a one-on-one, and you can just come to the office. We'll set aside an hour to 2 hours to go over all of your things. All right. So once you have your transaction, then you're working with checklists, which are over here on the left-hand side. All right, so let me find the one I want because I just created that one. Okay, somehow I lost the one I just created. All right. So add a checklist. Go back to listing. All right, so listing checklist, listing packet. Your packets are where you're going to get all your forms. Use forms. Here's all the forms for standard listing. You take out the lead, the POA, or the condo if you do not need them. So if the property does not require a lead, if it does not have a homeowners association, if it does not have a condo, you simply remove those from the packet. And then you would hit next. Verify the people that you already have on there. Next, and then you're into preparing the forms. This is where you'll fill in everything simply by clicking the red boxes that are a fill now box, turn them white, and you can type on here. Okay. So you basically scroll through, verify that everything's filled out. Initial boxes are where they need to be, assigned to where they need to be. Signature boxes. So you just basically go along and fill in everything as required. When it's ready to send, right-hand button, send for e-signature. I'm going to save and close. All right. Add a checklist. So as you go through the different stages, when you receive the contract and you're ratifying it, you're going to do listing under contract for a listing. And here's all the broken down spots for where the documents of the ratified contract are going to go. You would simply put the ratified contract under documents unsorted on the left-hand side, split it so that it goes in the appropriate pages. So when you get the offer, you're going to pop it here. You'll need to do an e-sign to have your seller sign it. So that's right over here on the right-hand side above where you see the document. You would see e-sign. You would go pick your people, next, and then you would just simply add the fields where they need to sign. And then you can split it. You add checklist for your property inspection. So PICRA, if they're doing a home inspection due diligence, you're going to add. On that checklist is where we're going to have the PICRA, the property inspection contingency removal addendum, and any inspection home warranty reports. You're going to upload them here. Every time you add a document that is complete, you need to turn it in always by hitting the action button and hit the, I don't have anything there to do, to send here. Submit for review. So anytime you have something that is complete, turn it in with submit for review. So if you have a condo, POA, you add those checklists. That's where you have the items if you have that. The last one that will go on there is the closing checklist. So on the closing checklist, you're going to verify that you submitted all your documents. Are all your tasks complete? Are all the contact records in there? You're going to upload a copy of the walkthrough. If you're representing the buyer, we require you to have a walkthrough. If they do not do a walkthrough, they need to sign that they've waived their walkthrough, and you will upload it here and submit it. If it's a listing, you're going to ask the listing agent to provide you with the walkthrough. We cannot make them give it to us. If they don't, you simply go where the walkthrough is on the comment section here, and you make a comment letting Lucy know requested walkthrough from listing agent on and the date, and hit the comment button to send it. When you complete the walkthrough for your buyer, you're going to send a copy of that to the listing agent asking if the sellers will sign it. You go ahead and upload a copy of the signed one by your buyers here. Comment to Lucy that you sent it to the listing agent asking for signatures, submit. If later you get it back and it is signed by the other party, we simply replace this document by moving this one to the unsorted. There'll be a button over here, and then upload the new one. Pre-closing disclosure. If you get a pre-closing disclosure to review prior to closing, which you should, make sure that everything's correct. Make sure it has a $395 admin fee included on there. You upload it here. Is the transaction complete and clear to pay? That is a question for Lucy, and she marks that to let me know that you've done everything, you've turned everything in, and it's all approved and I can pay you. Prior to closing, you can ask her to review your file to make sure that you don't need to do anything to be compliant. Simplest way to do this is to go over on the left-hand side, black bar, go down to users and contacts, hit the red action button drop down, send email. For recipient, just click and find Lucy's name. Then go down on the right-hand side where it says use template, hit the drop down, and the very first one is agent checking for clear to pay. Simply click there and hit send. That sends an email asking Lucy to check your file and make sure that everything's done and ready for clear to pay. Final closing settlement statement is uploaded here. If you get it right after closing, you can upload it. If not, and I receive it, I'll upload it. We mark it sold, put a copy of the MLS sold. These are my two buttons showing where I'm at on closing it out in our systems. Disbursement authorization DA is what I send to you to sign, showing the commission that came in, how it was all split up, and how much we're sending to your bank account. You sign it. It comes back to me. Once everything's done, signed, cleared by Lucy, we send ACH to your bank account that deposits on the next banking day. All right. So a couple little quick things that are real helpful as well. Add via email right over here on the left-hand side. If you click there and hit copy to clipboard, this link is an email that emails documents directly into this transaction on the unsorted page. So if you create a contact in your contacts and name it the property address and put this down as the email address, anytime you receive an email with documents that go to this transaction, you can simply hit forward and put that email address in there, and it will end up in this transaction on the unsorted, which is under documents, unsorted. So anything you send will automatically pop in here. So all you have to do is then split it to the appropriate checklist. All right. So as you go along and you're looking at your transactions here, this is everything when I go on transactions, because I have it current view showing closed and canceled. If I hit this little drop down and say I only want to see what's active, it will only show me what is active. All right, so just this little drop down. If you do transactions and nothing happens with them, you start working with a buyer and then they do something stupid and they no longer qualify and it's going to be a while. Any of these transactions, we can cancel them to drop them off this view. So you just want to keep what you're actually working on here. So, you know, new listings you're working on, active listings, contracts, and buyers. So anytime you have items like that that are no longer any good, you would just simply send me an email saying, hey, Carla, please cancel 123 Beach Street. Then I would know that 123 Beach Street's not going anywhere. They've changed their mind, fell off the face of the earth, whatever the situation is, and we're just going to cancel it out. All right. Working with buyers is a little different. So when you start working with a buyer, you're not going to have a property address. So if this were a buyer, which would be a consultation, you simply just put their name, put periods for city, state, and zip, just as a placeholder until we know what the actual ratified contract address is. Price, you're simply going to put a 0 because we don't know the price. So any of the items along here that you don't know, you put a period for data and a 0 for money. So when you do know the answer to the question, as you go along the transaction, you just come back and edit this. All right. So now I've changed this over to a consultation. I'm going to add the buyer consult represented checklist. You need to do this prior to showing people property, This is what is saying that you are their agent and you are getting paid. You're representing them. So you need to have this done the minute you start working with a buyer. Get them to sign all this because that's step one. You come down here to your signing packet, hit use forms. Here's all the appropriate documents that you're going to be needing, and hit next. Here we go. Buyer's agent is the one I wanted, and buyer. Oh, I thought Mickey Mouse was in here. We're just going to click on Sally Seller because I don't want to add another one. I don't need the other agent. I have one buyer, so I'm just simply removing them. Ghost, I'm going to leave for right now so I can show you. There's only one field that Ghost fills out, but they don't sign. Signing order. Like I said, you drag and move around the order that you want them to sign. Next. All right, this is our exclusive right to represent. So you're going to make sure that it has the current date, has the buyer's names, the term, how long is this agreement good for? Calendar will pop up, and if I say I'm working with them till December 31st, it could be 3 months, 6 months, you could put a year, whatever terms that you've agreed with your buyers. Then make sure that the initials are assigned to that person. Everything here is pretty well pre-filled. When you get to this page here, it's wanting to know if this buyer is a licensed agent or is not a licensed agent. And they do need to initial by that box. So you're simply going to remove the one that does not match for that person. So in order to remove a box, okay, you simply click on the box and hit the trash can. This one we don't need. All right, so then you keep scrolling down. You'll need to add boxes and fill in your information, your license number. You just continue on till you've completed all the different documents. Here's the one that was assigned to Ghost. We're going to fill now. If you have a property and you're only writing for one property, you can put the property address. If not, you're going to put to be determined. So it covers any property. There's the escrow agency again, our cyber. Lead brochure, we disclose that to everyone, and the only thing they have to do is sign on the first page that we've given it to them. So once you get to this part, you're finished with the forms and you can send them for signature. It's going to ask you to remove any signers that do not have a signature box, which is Ghost, which is correct. So you simply remove them. You see now Ghost is gone, and I can send it to signature if I'm ready to. Okay, then if you find a property and you're ready to start writing offers, you're going to need to add a purchase general checklist. So back to add a checklist, purchase general, add. And then right here's your contract packet. So it's the same process. Use forms, complete all the forms, get them signed. Now with a contract, you're not going to split it unless it's ratified. So once you complete this contract and everything is signed, you're going to print it to a PDF and drop off those last signature pages that I showed you on that one packet. I'll go there and show you what I'm talking about. So you always want to print it instead of downloading it, because if you download it, you're going to get the very last pages, which is your signing certificate. This one here. You don't want to email this this page to the other agent. It has everyone's name and email address, including your buyer or sellers. So you're going to chop that off by printing it to a PDF and exclude those pages. All right. So once you've done that, you've sent that contract packet where this packet is, you're just going to move it to the unsorted and leave that open. So your offer would be here in the unsorted, and you would just name it. So if you wrote an offer on 123 Beach Street, then you would rename this offer 123 Beach Street. So if this was the offer, edit, rename, offer 123 Beach Street, and then hit rename. If their offer is not accepted, you don't do anything. You just leave it there. If it is, they're going to send you back a ratified, and you're going to put it here and split it. If you need to write another offer because you moved the one from here, from this contract packet, you simply start another one. All right. And just remember, anything that you put in this first section here is what goes on those documents when you're filling them out. So when you go to write an offer, you're going to edit and you're going to change all this information. You're going to fill in as much of this that matches up to that listing. All right. Any questions? Nope. Okay, good. Now, when you're doing the offers, make sure you download the disclosures out of the MLS, because they'll have uploaded the DPOR and the ACUs and any other documents, and you would add those to your packet. So back to where I did the use forms, where I showed you of attaching documents on the listing, you would attach them here to make them part of your packet. And then you would go to wherever they are on your computer and add them. All right. All right, if there's no questions, I'm going to wrap it up for today. And like I said, all you have to do is schedule a one-on-one with me, and I'm happy to work through a transaction. We can create a dummy one. If you have one coming up that you're ready to work on, we can do that one. And it just is a lot easier to actually go through it and actually do a transaction. All right. Well, thanks for attending. Bye.